I've got an announcement. The Adelaide Motor Inn would require Mr. J. Dwyer from Lewis Pond, Mr. G. Smith from Hunt Engineering, and Mr. G. Anderson from Hunt Engineering. Would you please contact Michelle at the Adelaide Motor Inn urgently, please? That's Mr. Dwyer, Smith and Anderson. Would you please ring Michelle at the Adelaide Motor Inn urgently, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello once again and welcome to the Bolivar Raceway on behalf of the Southern Go-Kart Club and the Australian Karting Association. Final number one out there on the circuit now, ready to go. It's the Clubman Heavy, one competitor having some trouble getting his kart started. That is bad luck. The yellow flag's still out. This is your last opportunity to wish them well. Give them the big thumbs up with a big wave around this circuit. South Australia's very own Gary Dan, driving kart number 10 for Drew Price Engineering, is going to be the pole sitter. You reckon this one won't be a crackerjack pace or what? It will be an absolute boomer, let me assure you. Kart number 63 will be in there as well. Looks like Brad Clayton from Western Australia. This will be an absolute humdinger of an event. The final's getting underway. Any one of 12 competitors or so capable of winning this one. The gold and the glory up for grabs along with the national championship. We've got the green. We're underway. It's a drag race to turn number one. Will it be Gary Dan who grabs it? No. It's the XL of Jason Holding. The brain stuff down in turn number one. The big bold outside pass rocketed him into the lead. Scott Bartlett in kart number 15. Out of it down in the second corner. But it's Holding in kart number 28. Breaking very late indeed in the opening turn. It's Gary Dan in kart number 10. Back to second spot. Brad Clayton from Western Australia. He's been bumped back to fifth. It's Aaron Jenner from South Australia quickly up through the field in the fourth spot. He now focuses on one of the Western Australian drivers out there. May have been Kip Foster in kart number 20. Yes, it is. Foster up in third. Jenner there in fourth. We look at Brad Clayton in kart number 63 back in fifth position. Then it's Michael Miller. Danny Miller from the rear of the field has moved up to the middle of the pack in the space of one lap. Watch out for him. And also keep an eye out for Paul Cooper in kart number 16. Oh, we've got Kip Foster out of it. Another card has collected him. The yellow coming out. Somehow the 29 of James Britton manages to miss them. The Western Australian Kip Foster is out of it, and all of a sudden Aaron Jenner looking good for a national title. He's there in third spot. Jason Holding's back to second. Gary Dan now powers clear by about a kart length to the head of this field. Clayton's back there in fourth position. Philip Morrison beginning to move up. He's defending champion is Philip Morrison. Everything to drive for. A crackerjack pace in through Wakefield turn. I'll take a lap or two more and then John Gray will take it for 5. This is 22 laps of fever pitch competition. Look at Aaron Jenner. Amazing stuff. Out in the turn. He kept the right foot buried. He wants this more than anything. You can sense it. These top 6 competitors want the gold and the glory, and they want it big time as they work in through the Channel 10 Bridgestone turn. Gary Dan, Aaron Jenner, Jason Holding, Philip Morrison, and Brad Clayton, the Western Australian in there. Jenner now going for the lead in turn number 1, and the South Australian's done it. Phenomenal stuff. Gary Dan back to second. Jason Holding third. A train off them, but Dan fights back at him. Sensational effort out of Wakefield turn. They come back towards the chicane. Holding now takes them both. Well, now we've seen just about everything. This Clubman Heavy is a fantastic race. Philip Morrison gets back up to third position. Aaron Jenner back to fourth. John Gray, I don't know whether we can keep this pace up. The National Championship on the line. This is becoming one heck of a race.
Well, Jason Holding told me what his race plan was, and he's sticking to it out there. And Gary Dan's the one that's really harassing everybody out there. But it's Jason Holding out in front. from Gary Dan now as I go through the kink, heading out to Wakefield Corner, and it's not over by a long chalk yet. These carts are still pretty closely in combat out here as they come around again, and it's still Jason Holding from Gary Dan. Card number 12 there is Philip Morrison. It's all South Australia at the moment as they go round through the loop into the infield, and Jason Holding out in front, and a very confident young man over the weekend. Has a peep over his shoulder to Gary Dan as they go up to the towards the pit corner and round into the main straight away again. Jason Holding. Gary Dan pulls the car to the inside to look at him move out there. Jason Holding going with him. Philip Morrison it is. And Danny Miller, yes, he's back there. He's battling his way through the bunch. It'll be worthwhile watching out there. Some of these coming down from the back of the field, gradually moving up there. It's Jason Holding out in front from Gary Dan. Car number 12, Philip Morrison. And 17 there is Perry Evans from Ipswich Kart Club. Around they go, they're running nose to tail, and we've got two cars out, and Michael Miller is out. Oh, Daniel Miller it is, and Daniel Miller is not a happy little Vegemite at all. He's off the circuit, and a big effort by Daniel Miller has gone from hero to zero, unfortunately for him. Okay, coming around there, it's Jason Holding out there from Gary Dan. It's the South Australians in the van out there as they lead the pack as they come through the Wakefield Corner in this Clubman heavy final. Coming around now, and it's still Jason Holding from Gary Dan. Car number 12, Philip Morrison. 17, it's Perry Evans in car number 17. Number 6, Aaron Jenner. Aaron Jenner out there and is still within a big shot there. He's in with striking distance there as he settles down now, and they come back into the main straight away. And a lot of shuffling and ducking and weaving going on down along that main straight with Jason Holding showing the way to them out there. Gary Dan has dropped back a spot now as they go over towards Wakefield Corner. Look at Morrison there throwing out the challenge as they come up to the corner now. They swing around that one and they'll come up past us in any minute now. And around they go. And it's Jason Holding's got a length out there from Morrison. Gary Dan backing away. Aaron Jenner making a dash up on the outside. Didn't quite come off. And there's a whole hoop of cars. There's 3, 6, 9. There's about 18, 20 cars in this whole hoop there. And heading up towards the top end of the circuit. Around they go. They're at the pit corner. And it's Jason Holding as they come down there from Morrison. Then Gary Dan. Down along the straight, Gary Dan pulls the cart out and has a look at them as they come down to the bottom around corner. Round the corner they go, and it's still Jason Holding. And he's looking good at this stage, and Morrison's still looking for the challenge there as they get to Wakefield Corner. Coming around this one now, and we'll wait for them to come into view again. And it is still Jason Holding out there. From Philip Morrison, then Gary Dan. Car number 17. It's Perry Evans, the Ipswich driver. Car number 63 in this one as well. And that's Brad Clayton from the Tiger Club in WA. Looking for Aaron Jenner there as he comes around the corner in car number 6. And here we go, Morrison throwing out the challenge to Jason Holding, and Gary Dan going with them as they come in under brakes on the bottom corner. Oh, and that's very close, and Gary Dan up in a second spot behind Morrison now. Jason Holding relegated back to 3rd. This will swap and change all over the place for a heck of a lot more laps to get, folks, as they come around. And it's Philip Morrison out in front at 12, Gary Dan. In 10, 28, Jason Holding, 63, Brad Clayton. Having a look there, Aaron Jenner still in a reasonably good spot. Would not want to go back any further than that. Needs to get the wick turned up a little bit as they go through the pit corner and back down into the main straight away. It's Morrison out in front from Gary Dan. And a charge down there. Jason Holding hanging on to 3rd spot as they go into the braking area. They close up under brakes. They're running like a snake, twisting through these corners there as they get out of Wakefield Corner again. And it's Morrison who leads out of that one. And they'll come round into the chicane up here. And it's Morrison out in front from Gary Dan. And Jason Holding. Car number 63. Brad Clayton. He's holding up the honour for Western Australia. Round they go again, and they're running in very close company now. They're nose to tail as they come up through pit corner, and it's Morrison out in front from Gary Dan. South Australia in the first 3 slots there, then back to WA. Round they come there, running very, very close. I think Gary Dan's almost running that number 12 right off the back of Morrison's number plate as they come through Wakefield Corner. Coming up. Take it, John.
Thank you, Jono. We picked them up going in towards the left. The James Contractor flies turn. Philip Morrison, defending national champion for Clubman Heavy. This one brought to you by the great people at Yamaha Pitmans. What a cruel twist of fate. The Miller brothers, Michael and Danny, both coming to grief in the same part of the track. I think Michael's engine just giving up the ghost. Both of them very unhappy. They look very strong in qualifying, but the final is a different ball game. It's a different kettle of fish. These drivers now will be richening them up. They'll be wanting to feed more and more fuel through to them to keep them cool so that they don't detonate an engine. They come out of Wakefield turn once again, in through the chicane. Morrison, Dan, Clayton from Western Australia, looks on the inside of Gary Dan, backs down at the last moment. Card number 17, that's Perry Evans. And out goes Jason Holding. Cart number 25 just continues. Angelo Belmonte. Tragic luck for the South Australian in the second half of the James Contract Supplies turn. He's out of it after looking so strong early on, and he's not very happy about it. This is national title. This is cutthroat stuff. The order, Morrison, Dan. Then we look back towards the 17 entry, I think, of Perry Evans in third spot. More drama, and Aaron Jenner's come to grief. He's out of it. Three other competitors going out. Cleo Mandacos, one of them in cart number 83. Words are spoken. Temper's afraid. We'll give it the order now. Things are changing at the front of the field like you wouldn't believe. Gary Dan pressuring, going for the lead around the outside in pit zone. Gary Dan, foot in the bucket, but he's going to be overhauled by Perry Evans. Possibly Brad Clayton in cart number 63. They train him going down the main stretch. Philip Morrison in cart number 12 wants this title, as do the 5 and 6 competitors right on his rear bumper. They're all hungry for this one. They work now out of Wakefield turn. They get back on the accelerator and come back into view. Morrison right in behind him now, the 17 of Perry Evans. Following him is Brad Clayton in cart number 63 from WA. Next is Gary Dan in cart number 10. And we've got a roll. It's Terry Squires in 41. Terry Squires flipping, thrown out of the chair, but he is A-OK. Good news that up. They'll get the cart out of the way and the racing will continue. Well, less than 10 laps remaining now, and we've got a charge for the lead. Down in the Bob Moran turn, and cart number 17 goes to the front. It's Perry Evans for Evans Karting Supplies, the Titan chassis, now moving to the number 1 position. They come now down out of Wakefield turn.
Right, 15 carts in this one, John. We've got half the field absolutely destroyed. And they're all over the place there. Car number 53, Marcus Ambrose took a shortcut there. But the lead and the pressure is on. And by gee, have a look at them out there. And Gary Dan in number 10's been battling away. He's holding down second spot at the moment as they go round through the top corner and back down along the main straight. And there's 5 carts there all battling away for it. And as I said, only 15 carts left standing out of the whole of the field. Round through the bottom they go, and it's Morrison in cart number 12 from Gary Dan in number 10, and somebody kicks up a little bit of dirt with all the carts parked on the side of the circuit down there. It seems to be very, very busy to me. Coming up now, it'll be Philip Morrison in cart number 12, number 10, Gary Dan, cart number 63, Brad Clayton, cart number 25, Angelo Belmonte, 16 in there is Paul Cooper. And it's still anybody's go at the moment. We're winding down on these laps now and coming through. And we'll just pick them up as they come back into the main straight with Philip Morrison out in front. 5 to go and 5 to go. And I tell you what, we're going to get Johnny to bring home these carts for 5 laps to go.
Thank you very much, John. We watch them in through the Bob Moran cars, left-hander. They're down on the short straight. Gary Dan has never won a national championship, would dearly love to win one. Philip Morrison, on the other hand, knows what it's all about, has a national crown under his belt. They work in through the chicane. Dan in 10, Morrison in 12. The Benson up against the arrow with Brad Clayton's parcel post 63 cart there in third. Clayton honing in on Dan, and he muscles him out of position. Oh, Gary Dan's title aspirations falling by the wayside. Will not win it from back there. Is back now into about 7th position with no more than 4 laps remaining. It's Philip Morrison that skips clear, looking for that golden yellow plate that he can wear for another 12 months. He scorches down towards Wakefield turn. Around he comes. Brad Clayton now looking at about a 3-cart length deficit as they scorch back towards our chicane. Through they come. Morrison in 12. Clayton driving 63. They're both clear now. Cart number 25, Angelo Belmonte up into 3rd spot. Back behind him, cart number 16, Paul Cooper, who has come from the rear of the field, if you don't mind. A very big effort from Cooper. from the rear of the pack to fourth spot is a tremendous effort. Back behind him is Perry Evans in cart number 17. 3 laps left to run. The Western Australian closing in on South Australia's own Philip Morrison. They fade in through the left and the right-hander accordingly. Just a wisp of smoke from the Western Australian's cart. Is that going to cause concern? They come out of Wakefield Corner and back into view now. It's the Benson Racing Carts. Australia entry of Philip Morrison. It's a cart that is manufactured right here in Adelaide. Gary Dan working hard. Gets to the inside of cart number 87, which I think is Brett Ferris. Marcus Ambrose follows him through. He's hooked up on Gary Dan. Ambrose hooked up. Gary Dan with sheer strength lifts him off the back of his cart and continues on, but it's a very disappointing effort from Gary Dan and his arrow, and he will be very sad and sorry for himself after this. After coming from pole position, just that one bad move and just a little bit of bad luck in through the James Contract Suppliers there. So his race was just about run, going off the circuit and then rejoining it. But it's back to the front of it, down in Wakefield. There's been a change. Brad Clayton, the Western Australian, has moved in front, but Phil Morrison goes back at him. They touch and they're out. Brad Clayton's out, but Philip Morrison continues. Oh, bad luck from Philip Morrison. He could have gone onto the main stretch. I don't know whether he could have rejoined at the front of the pack, but he did the sportsman-like thing, and he is a real sportsman, is Philip Morrison. Well, what can we say? This race now is just about anyone's. We'll pick them up. I think it may even be the 16 of Paul Cooper. Coming from the rear of the field, a superhuman effort. Looks like he's going to take it. They approach the chicane for the final time. Cart number 16, Paul Cooper from the Hawkesbury Club. Luck falling his way, unlike Danny Miller, who could have come from the rear of the pack. Cooper's going to do it. 25, Angelo Belmonte there in second spot. Back behind them, we try and pick up the runner. Sitting in behind them, it's the 17 of Perry Evans. But ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. The man from the rear of the field, Paul Cooper. Sensational drive. Second spot. Going out to cart number 25, Angelo Belmonte, unofficially. Perry Evans in cart number 17 in there for about third position. They'll come around. We'll do our best to give you the rest of the field. This is National Championship action at its very best. Cart number 33 in there somewhere. Also Mark Giancola. Good fight back from him. Marcus Ambrose. Brett Ferris did nicely. Alan Brown got up there somewhere as well. The hard luck stories from this John Gray. Firstly, Daniel Miller was up to about 9th or 10th. He was with Paul Cooper, may have even run top 3 if he hadn't have come to grief in the middle of the track. Gary Dan driving cart number 10. A real disappointment for him going off the circuit and then rejoining. He lost 7 or 8 positions. What a rip-snorting event that was.